to you about today is a lot of the new research that we've been doing around change management versus business readiness. And we actually undertook a study through what's called the Futures Company, where we went out and we studied drama. And do you guys all know what drama in the workplace is? Anyone know what that sounds like in the bathroom and at the water cooler and the arguing with reality? I can't believe we're doing this. This is crazy. This is sick and wrong. We've actually shown through our research that people spend 2 hours and 20 minutes a day in drama. Arguing with reality, complaining against new policies. This is sick and wrong. I can't believe we're doing this. And one of the really intriguing things that we found was one of the top 5 causes of that drama, of what we call emotional waste in the workplace, that lost 2 hours and 20 minutes of productivity, is resistance to change. So change happens, change rolls out. We then, sit and agree with our leaders during the change, and then in the meeting, after the meeting, which usually happens behind closed doors, we go and we do what we call BMW Driving. And that stands for a bitch and moan and whine and wagon. We find everyone else who agrees with us. We shut the door in the meeting after the meeting and be like, I can't believe this. This is crazy. I can't believe we're doing this. This is sick and wrong. This is never going to work. And on and on and on. And this is where that 2 hours and 20 minutes of resistance starts to build in your organization. And so we're going to talk about some bold new thinking today. Change management versus business readiness. Change management, old school, studying it for 30 years. What we've been studying for 30 years is that change management is transactional. Its focus is to work and help people cope and survive change, to coddle, to make them safe. It puts all the burden on the leadership team to have the perfect why statement, the perfect communication cadence, the perfect memo, the perfect meeting series, to make people feel okay and comfortable with the change so that they can buy in and move forward with what's next. We want to start focusing on business readiness. Business readiness builds the skills to get people to align and adapt quickly to protect the business from the impacts of change. So you can see the difference. Change management is transactional. It helps people cope and survive. Business readiness is a transformational strategy that makes change less disruptive to the business. It helps people quickly adapt and align by giving them the skills that they need in advance so they can be ready for what's next. So what we've done is we've built actually what we call the pyramid of readiness. It begins with awareness. Awareness is where much of traditional change management has stopped. We've become really, really good as HR leaders at awareness. Great email campaigns, bathroom posters about the change that's coming up, the new policies, email cadences, executive meetings. That's all awareness. And we take a lot of that burden as leaders on ourselves. But where the pyramid of readiness becomes so powerful for you is that when we start to move up the pyramid, it actively engages the team and the people to take an active role in the change. So they're driving the skills, awareness, and advocacy to get everyone else on board so that they can eventually be a driver of the change. If you want to be a driver of the change, you have to work your way up the pyramid. You can't get a license to drive if you first aren't willing to be a willing advocate and active participant in the current changes and alignment that's happening in the organization. As they continue to go up the chain, it's how you be an advocate. All too often in change management, we try to get everybody on board. And one of the things that my team or people have said to me is, Kelli, you play favorites. Well, absolutely I play favorites. And not play favorites in any of the HR things that you are all well versed in. It's not gender, race, and protected class and all of this. I play favorites, yes I do. Would you like to be one? And here's a list of skills and competencies that all of my willing and my advocates and people in Vision have, and this is why I use them to help me drive change initiatives. In fact, we know that when an issue or an event happens, people tend to fall into 3 categories. 20% land in vision, 60% land in maintenance, and 20% land in resistance. And all too often as leaders, those folks in resistance are really loud. But they're often only 1 to 2% of your organization who are disagreeing with the change, but those 1 to 2% are really loud. Us leaders go to them, we try to make them happy, which we know it'll never work because some people in life will never ever be happy. So your folks in maintenance, they're just waiting to see where the love is. And if you're giving all of your love, an extra 80 hours per year is what we found, to the folks in resistance, all of your maintenance wait and see folks also go to resistance. Instead, you play favorites. You work with a willing. I know that you are envisioned, you see the potential of this change. Can I count on you to help activate the silent majority, to be seen in meetings, to raise your hand and voice your support of the change? Can I count on you to be present in the meeting after the meeting when everyone else is BMW driving and you can stand up and be that voice of reason that says, hey guys, this is a great way for us to be ready for what's next. This is a great initiative. This keeps us competitive. This keeps us safe. So as leaders, all too often, we've taken the burden of managing change on us. We've spent way too much time trying to make the resistors happy and pull everyone along in the change, when instead, all we need to do as leaders is focus on the top 20%, ask them for their commitment, ask them for their advocacy to help us shift the tide and shift the momentum so that we can keep our organization ready for what's next.